Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome in to another EKU Game Day Show. Michael Watkins here with you for Game 4 of the season for the Colonels after falling to 1-2 last week on the road at Marshall. EKU trying to get back in the win column, and it's an important one. It's conference play starting up this afternoon for the Colonels, and Walt Wells and his team knowing how important this game is as they try to regroup. Now, good news. We have not lost an FCS game yet. Bad news, we really don't know anything about this offense. You know, when I was talking to fans before the season, people would ask me, how do you feel about the team this year? And it's a lot of unknowns. We lost a lot off the offensive line. We lost a lot of veteran leadership. And, of course, the quarterback position is always a question mark. And really, I think for a lot of teams, whether they be FCS or FBS, in the day and age of, the transfer portal and new players coming in, the quarterback position is going to be a big question mark for a lot of teams. That was the case coming into the season for the Colonels. Right before the season started, Coach Wells and his coaching staff electing Miles Burkett as the starting quarterback. Last week, halfway through the game, Burkett was replaced by Jordan Potts. We'll talk to Coach Wells about that here in just a few minutes on the Game Day Show as we go into the matchup today with West Georgia. A lot to be excited about for Colonel fans. Conference play is here. Back at home next week, which is important too because, as Coach Wells will tell us here in a few minutes, we are still in line to accomplish all of the goals the team has or had coming into the season. Winning a conference, going to the postseason, going undefeated at Roy Kidd Stadium. All those things are still in front of them. Coach Wells will talk about that here in just a few minutes. But we do want to look back at the loss last week to Marshall, a 38-7 defeat. Again, dropping to 1-2 on the season while allowing Marshall to get their first victory. They are also now 1-2 after that win at home last week. Marshall, Coach talked about after that loss, a really good football team. They came in with some pride following the loss. Coach Wells talked about, how good Marshall looked, and he kind of knew that it was going to be a tough challenge for his team on the road. He said we've got to get better on offense and special teams. Again, we knew that. We saw the struggles even in the win versus Houston Christian. You could see that there was a lot of things that still needed to be fixed. Coach said we got to get better on offense and special teams. We are into our FCS slate now. We are 1-0 in FCS play, and we still have all of our goals in front of us. Again, we just talked about that. The Colonels' lone score of that game came courtesy of a 13-yard pass from Jordan Potts to Jaden West, a former Madison Central Indian who played right here in Richmond. West was a really good athlete at Madison Central. Played wide receiver, had some highlight reel type catches in his time in the Indians uniform. Even was a great basketball player, just a really good athlete during his time playing high school here in Richmond. And he got his first collegiate score last week, and that was set up because of the EKU defense and Cam Jr., who seemed to have his name called a lot by the Colonel defense. He stripped Marshall's quarterback on the Herd's first drive of the second half, and that was a big play setting up the lone score of the game for the Colonels. Jaheim Ward led the EKU defense in the loss with a game-high 12 total tackles, 9 of which were solo tackles, and he also had a forced fumble. So, Colonel defense doing Colonel defense things, forcing turnovers, which is one thing that has been a huge positive through these first 3 games. As we look back at how it kind of played out in the loss to Marshall, the Thundering Herd started off pretty quick. They intercepted Miles Burkett on the first play from scrimmage, setting up the Herd at the Colonels' 24-yard line. The Colonels' defense answered the call, however, on that opening drive, stonewalling the Herd on 4th and inches at the EKU 16-yard line to give Eastern the ball back on down. So a big momentum swing for Marshall as they get the interception. Colonels get the big momentum swing back after a stop on 4th and inches. But Marshall got on the board first with a 19-yard field goal on its very next drive to go up 3-0 with a little over 8 minutes to play in the first quarter. Another interception by Marshall on EKU's ensuing drive quickly set up the Herd in the red zone, and they capitalized 3 plays later with a 4-yard quarterback keeper for a score, putting them up 10-0 with just over 5 minutes to play in the opening quarter. The Herd put another 7 points on its next possession, going 35 yards on 6 plays, capped off with a 3-yard rush up the middle, giving the Thundering Herd a 17-0 lead with 25 seconds left in the first quarter. And it doesn't matter how good your defense is, when you consistently let the opposing offense basically start drives in your territory, it is so hard to get stops consistently, and that was an issue last week. 3 plays, the Colonels started the second half down 31-0. Neither team got a score until the end of the second quarter as Marshall connected for a 30-yard touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone. And again, they led 31-0 going into the half. Eastern started the second half with a spark on defense. As again, Cam Jr. delivered a strip sack with defensive lineman Tommy Zeismer jumping on the loose ball and setting up the EKU offense in the red zone. So now it's EKU's turn to get a short field, and they took advantage of it. 3 plays later, Jordan Potts, who again started the second half at quarterback, found Jaden West over the middle for a 13-yard touchdown, and that made the score 31-7 with 8:01 left in the third quarter. The Thundering Herd answered right back with a touchdown of their own on the ensuing drive, going 63 yards on 5 plays, finishing with a 3-yard touchdown run and the final score of the game. So the fourth quarter, nobody scored. The latter part of that third quarter, no offense either. But it was enough for Marshall as they won the game 38-7. And we now turn our attention to West Georgia. But if you're Coach Wells, again, he has this press conference every Tuesday, and in the press conference, he talked about the loss to Marshall and how it can be a confidence killer for a team when they go out there and they're continuing to struggle on one side of the ball. The Colonels are 1-2, but through these 3 games, we haven't really seen a ton from the offense. Offensive line has struggled. Running backs have been unable to get going. Wide receivers have been unable to get open, and the quarterback play, again, has kind of suffered because of all of that. So as we look at what Coach Wells looks back on in the loss to Marshall, we'll hear from the head man from the Colonels, and we'll also talk to a pair of players as we come back here on the Game Day Show.
Obviously disappointed in our overall performance as a team, both players and coaches and myself and everybody involved in that Marshall game. Thought Marshall came out and prepared well and did some good things. But we also gave them plenty of opportunities with the first, I think it's 4 or 5 drives starting at the plus 30 something there. It's hard for your defense to go out there and maintain a level that they were playing at early on. And then offensively, we have to continue to strive to get better and get things better and be more productive. And the goal is to get first downs, but also to get points. So we have to do a better job of that in our preparation and practice, which will bleed over into the games, and just continue to get these young men experience. But it's one that we've got to flush behind us, and we have yesterday in all our meetings and everything that we did yesterday. And today we look forward to the challenge of West Georgia, a team that is currently ranked, I think, 22nd, 21st, somewhere right in that area. Coach Taylor's done an outstanding job of recruiting and getting guys in there and believing in what he's doing and playing. They beat Samford. They beat East Tennessee State and Nichols. And so, who we'll see the following week, obviously. So they've had a good FCS schedule, and they're sitting at 3-0. So I know they're confident and looking forward for us to come in there. And so it'll be a great challenge for us to go on the road again and come out of there with a victory.
Coach, I think everybody's going to ask you about the quarterback situation. Jordan looked okay when he came in there in the second half, but if you can, just talk about that and as things progress. We're still going with Miles for this game.
Yeah, we'll make those decisions when we need to. Miles, struggled early on. I think he'll be the first one to tell you that. But Miles has put in a lot of work and done a lot of great things, and he's a good young man. He understands what we're doing. Everybody has their moments, and so we've got to evaluate the whole, not just part. Jordan did come in and do some nice things. The one score that we had, we got the ball at the 12-yard line, I think it is. So, we expect to score there. And we did, which was nice to see. And it was great for Jaden West to get his first touchdown on his birthday, a local product there from Madison Central. But, we'll evaluate and go that direction. And, we're not going to say anything right now, but our team knows, and so we'll leave it at that.
When you look at the running game the last couple of weeks, it seemed like you've been really trying to get that going, but this offensive line, like you've got a lot of guys that you're trying to move around, some newer guys up there up front for you. Just talk about that and maybe what you've seen from them that you've got to improve on before you go into this West Georgia game.
Well, we've got to improve on targeting and making sure we're going to the right people. And we hard to say, but we actually did some things that were a little better Saturday night. But when you're playing against a Division I football team, sometimes you get exposed in other things, and so we have to continue to build that continuity up front. We kept the same lineup in. We are giving some guys some breathers because we felt like there's some guys that earned some opportunities, but it's pretty much the same group in there the whole time. Nobody playing new positions, if that makes any sense. So it'll be this will be the third week in a row that we're going into that, and so we're expecting better things from our offensive line and better things from our run game. It comes from everybody, and we have to be able to do that. And so you're right. I mean, offensively, we've got a long ways to go. But in a short time to get there. And so we're going to have to make sure that we have a great week of practice, minimize what we do to make sure they have an understanding of what they do, because West Georgia's defense is a really stout defense that does a great job. So we're going to have to be prepared and go in there and put bodies on bodies. The biggest thing it shows is that it's tough to win on the road. I mean, it's tough you have to go play well. And you can't make the mistakes you make and have a chance to win on the road. It's so hard to go into these environments. You go into Louisville, there's 70,000 people. You go in the other night, there's 30,000 people. And, it makes it communication has to be crisp and concise. It has to be loud. It has to, your hand signals or whatever you're doing has to be on point. You have to have a heightened awareness with your mind and paying attention and knowing what to do. And you can't get caught up in the environment and all the things that go on. And when we go to West Georgia, I'm sure Carrollton's a football town. I mean, they got they got all kinds of great football down there. So I'm sure there'll be a great crowd and they'll try to, bring distractions to us. We have to go down and be a part of us. And I think that's been really good for our young football team. Now, have the results been what we wanted? Not at all. But going on the road to play at Louisville and then going on the road to play at Marshall and packed stadiums against FBS programs can only build your program, in my opinion. The mental part is what we got to get over. And the 2 losses, nobody likes to lose. Everybody hates to lose. But you have to understand, it does not affect the outcome of what we're trying to do right now. Other than be undefeated, and that went out the window after the first week. So we have to stay focused on what we have to do and prepare that away this week and not let Marshall beat us twice. When you go into the first game, you kind of know what Louisville's got and you understand the expectations from Louisville and everything, but you don't know what, for us, we didn't know who we had at certain positions and how they were going to play. And you find out through that process, okay, this guy can do this. This guy probably needs a break, about 3 series in. This guy, this scheme is not fit this person. And you start self-scouting right away, to be honest with you, and figure out where you're at and who you are and who you're going to try to be for the rest of the season. I do think it's difficult sometimes to evaluate the whole. You take the quarterback position as one. It's not always his fault, and everybody's going to say, well, he's the leader and he's got to do these things. There's no question about that. But if guys aren't getting open, who's he supposed to throw it to? If he doesn't have time to throw the ball because of the protection, who does he throw it to? Just little things like that come into play. That's just one example of one position, and I'm not saying that because of what we went through Saturday night. I'm just saying that the whole affects the part, and so we have to continue to understand what we're doing and how we're trying to develop. The thing you can really watch is who's competitive, who's got play strength, who's got knowledge to pick different things up when you see different schemes and sudden schemes. Because the first 2 games, we had really no tape on either team. I mean, we had tape from last year, but you got brand new quarterback, brand new schemes. You got to figure out what to do. And so those things come into play. And I know it's a long answer, but there's a lot to playing schedule like we play. We've had some season-ending injuries, and that puts us, takes our depth away, not only at the position, but also on special teams. And it affects special teams so many ways. And so all those different things come into play, and we got to continue to combat because I understand nobody cares. We got to continue to go out there and win and play well. But those are the factors that come into play when you go and play Louisville and Marshall, this early in the season.
Liam Coppinger is one of the return guys up front for the Colonels, and Liam talked about West Georgia and what kind of offense and defense they've got, especially up front, what they bring. They've got some smaller defensive linemen, which he thinks could cause a problem for the Colonels.
So they're a 4-2 heavy. They got a lot of smaller D linemen. They do a lot more movement. So it's going to be something we're really going to focus this week on practice, making sure we pick it all up so we can establish the run game and do a very strong pass one.
Hey, Liam, you look at the struggles right now of the offense. What do you think is the number one thing you guys have got to correct going into conference play?
Details. We have a lot of guys doing the right thing, and then it can be just one guy messing up a play. So just making sure we're all on the same page, we're all focusing on the details and being where we need to be.
You look at the history of this offensive line over the last 5 or 6 years since Coach Wells has been there. There's been a lot of camaraderie. There's always been one or two guys that you can kind of lean on. Talking about Peyton Collins or Josiah Israel. Have you talked to any of those guys about what made them so good, or what you can kind of take from them and bring to this season to kind of finish it out?
I call them probably once a week. John Stone, Peyton, a lot of the old guys that used to play here. And we just kind of talk about like what worked for us in the past and like how we can incorporate that into what we're doing now and like trying to take steps into being better.
All right, last one for me. We've seen the quarterback situation that played out on Saturday. When you look at Miles or Jordan, what do you think both of those guys can bring to the offense as you all go forward?
I think they're both great players. I'm excited to see, how it plays out, and I just want the best man to play. Just like every other position, we want the best man on the field. People are really counting us out. You watch the film on these teams that we're going to be playing, I think we'll run with them. I don't see us losing this conference. I really don't. I just know who we have. I mean, we played a lot of these guys. I mean, yes, they have graduates. They got a lot of returners, but I believe in our guys more than I don't believe in theirs.
Cam Jr. for the second straight game making a big play on the defensive side of things for the Colonels. So we talked to him as well about West Georgia and about this big playability that even though the team is 1-2, they have really shown a highlight real type effort on defense to consistently make plays. Again, we saw that against Marshall.
And we saw what you guys were able to do against Houston Christian at home, talking about an FCS matchup. So as you guys prepare for West Georgia, what does your defense need to do to kind of have that same output and to limit their offense?
Basically, we bringing out a lot of small details, putting a lot of small details in our game. We've been trying to put forward that we got to do everything right. Not everything's going to be perfect. Not everything's going to be great. They might get a play or two, but next play is the best play. So doing the little details and making them little details right is going to be the biggest part of our game.
I know with the situation now, we're 1-2, but your defense, man, you guys consistently seem to make big plays. You talked about the touchdowns. You had one in the first 2 games and seeing what you were able to do and turning them over this past weekend as well. So talk about that and just how the defense has this big playability and to kind of, create some momentum for the offense to kind of get going eventually.
Basically, we got a lot of players that can definitely just make a lot of plays, a lot of talented players that are just have the capability to play at the next level, that want to play at the next level. And we preach ball hawks and terrorizing the quarterback. So Anything that we can do to get the defense some touchdowns, get the offensive touchdowns that we just put forward. So punching the ball out, getting interceptions, making big hits on the quarterback, anything to knock their game off, anything to knock the quarterback's game off, because, he's the leader of the offense. So we knock the quarterback game off, we can make a lot of big plays that's going to frustrate the whole offense and then set our offense up for a good field play.
We would like to invite you to join our family at Bishop's Small Engine Repair.
Outdoor Power has become a family tradition, with 3 generations here bringing you years of experience.
We will help you find the best selection of outdoor power equipment from Cub Cadet, Grasshopper, DeWalt, Makita, Echo, Shindawa, and now still in our Georgetown store.
Or bring your equipment into our service department. We will keep it running for years to come.
And as with all families, we have to keep Mama happy. So come on in and see us at Bishop's Small Engine Repair in Richmond and in Georgetown.
At the Galaxy Bowling Center and Champions Bar and Grill, we have activities galore, including video games, bowling, pool, delicious food at Champions, plus karaoke and live entertainment 7 days a week. Enjoy the climate-controlled patio, watch NFL football, and your Kentucky Wildcats all season long. The Galaxy Bowling Center and Champions Bar and Grill, just off exit 87 at 1025 Amberley Way in Richmond.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Granite, marble, and quartz for any surface. Make a lifetime commitment you won't regret.
Cars of Kentucky is a proud sponsor of Eastern Kentucky University Athletics. In Richmond, we bleed maroon. Go Colonels. And when you're ready for your next pre-owned automobile, swing on over to Cars of Kentucky. Cars of Kentucky has vehicles starting at $3,000 and up, so we literally have something for every budget. 356 Big Hill Avenue in Richmond, or check them out, carsofkentucky.com. Let's go Colonels!
Back here on the EKU Game Day Show, the Colonels of Eastern Kentucky University, 1 win, 2 losses through 3 games of play, heading into the 4th game, and at the moment, the most important game of the season. As conference play now begins, you hit the road to face a West Georgia team, which has looked pretty good through the first 3 weeks of the season. Following an eye-catching 3-0 start through non-conference play, the 22nd-ranked West Georgia football team begins UAC slate today as they host your EKU Colonels. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. this evening, and of course both teams have not played a conference game yet. I think only 2 teams have played 1 conference game at the moment, so we'll look at that down the line here on the Game Day Show. But when you look at this matchup, it's a big one for the Colonels. It's a big one for West Georgia because both teams obviously want to get off to a good start in conference play. We'll talk to Coach Wells about that here in a moment. But for Coach Joel Taylor, it's 0-0 now as we go into conference play, said the head coach of West Georgia during his weekly press conference on Monday. It was great to start off 3-0. That's awesome. But now it's conference play, and our goal is to win the conference. West Georgia earned wins over Samford, Nichols, and they also came off a thrilling come-from-behind victory over East Tennessee State to begin their 3-0 start to the season for the first time since 2022. But now the Wolves host EKU for the first time ever, and they're looking to come back from a loss last year on the road in Richmond, where they were defeated 26-7 by the Colonels. Of course, Eastern was a playoff team last year, but this year the 1-2 Colonels only win coming over Houston Christian. And Coach Taylor talked about the team. He said, I think they are a good defensive ball club. They've got some zip and some size up front, and they have some good defensive backs. I think one of them was a preseason All-American. Taylor said of Saturday's opponent, "I think they've scored twice on defense already, and they basically shut us out last year. I know we scored, but they got after us." And when you look back at that matchup, Colonels looked really good last year against West Georgia. Obviously, the Wolves appear to be the better team. They're ranked in the top 25. They're undefeated. Things are going good, and Coach Wells talked about that as well. We'll hear from Coach in just a minute. UWG has looked very good on both sides of the football during this 3-0 start, with their defense coming in ranked 6th in FCS football in total defense, giving up just 246.7 yards per game. They're also 3rd in rushing defense, giving up just 65 yards per game. And before we talk about any more of the UWG stuff, the Colonels offense, and this running game in particular, has really struggled. The UWG defense is also 35th in passing, giving up just 181.7 yards per game, and they're 6th in scoring defense, giving up just over 14 points per game. So going to be a tough challenge for the Colonels. I would expect a low-scoring game in this one as well. Junior linebacker Jay Carter has led the defense each week for the Wolves and enters Week 4 with 29 total tackles and ranks 3rd in the UAC with 9.7 tackles per game. Offensively, West Georgia has used multiple weapons depending on the week and matchup, but one constant has been Latrell Morrell. The reigning UAC Offensive Player of the Week had 116 yards rushing with 92 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns through the air in the win over East Tennessee State win. And the native of Douglasville is 8th in FCS in yards per rush and 3rd in the country in rushing yards per game. So Morrell will obviously be a key factor in this game, and if the Colonel defense can stop him. We talked to Coach Wells about West Georgia and about how good this team is. Again, they are ranked in the 25th, the top 25. They are ranked 22nd in the top 25. But there are 3 teams in this conference ranked in the top 25, which I think says a lot about how good this conference is, because you got Austin Peay, you got Tarleton State, who I think is in the top 5 in the top 25. So there's a really good teams up front coming, awaiting the Colonels, but you got to get started on a good note today as you're on the road. And Coach Wells talked about how important it is to get off to a good start in conference play.
Well, I mean, we're in the game 4 now. Okay, so technically a 4th of the season after this week will be over. We played 2 FBS schools that, and then we played 1 FCS school. We're 1-0 in FCS play. All our goals are in front of us. Sure, our goals are to win every game, and I don't know if it's a goal, but it's an expectation. But our goals are, we've gone over them, and one of them is to win a conference championship. So if you want to control the destiny of that goal, this is the first chapter of that. And we have to go down and be prepared, understand that they're playing with a lot of confidence right now. I mean, they're 3-0. Everything's been great. Nobody's talking negative about them. And so they're going to be feeling good about themselves and coming in there ready to fight. And it's going to be a fight. And that's what we have to be ready for. And, I feel like our kids will show up and go in there and do what they're supposed to do. So if we play the way we're supposed to play, then it should be a really good game. I mean, like I said, they've done a great job in a short amount of time, and we have to go down there and show who we are too. Well, they've got their quarterback that's been there now that I know that's been there 2 years. He may have been there a year before, but I don't think he was. And so he is, he's got another year under his belt, year with the system. Even though they changed coordinators, the O-line coach became the coordinator. So I think everything kind of similar with tweaks. Everybody puts their own flair on it. So I think it starts through him. And he does a good job of distributing the football. They've got big athletic receivers that are twitchy coming off the line of scrimmage. So we have to be prepared for that. And then they've got a stable of backs that are really good. And, they've got guys that want to run the ball and they know how to run the ball. So we'll have to do a great job on defense of understanding what tendencies they do give us and taking advantage of that and playing extremely hard. And, our defense is really played well at times. And, obviously against Houston Christian, they played well. But, I mean, I think there's times you see it in the Louisville game, and there's times you saw it in the Marshall game. Like I said, I mean, we give the ball away there on I don't even know what yard line it was, but the 20-something, the 30-something, the very first possession. And, they get a first down, and then they hold them to 4 and out and stop them on a, 4th and inches. And then the next time we give them the ball at the same type position, and they hold them to a field goal. So our defense understands what it takes to stop the run and play the run. We just have to be consistent, and we have to give them life on offense. It's just, obviously within our system, we've got ways that we think will help our young men out and give them, the biggest thing you have to do with them is you have to play with clean eyes. And because if you let all the motions and shifts and things that they do to try to distract your eyes take you away from your keys and what you need to do, then they're going to get their runs. I think our defensive line's got to do a great job of like what we call build a wall. And keep everything in front of them and be stout in there. And then we have to play with clean eyes at the second and third level so we can get to where we need to. And then we have to be great tacklers. And we have to tackle well. And, we'll be working that this week and making sure we're wrapping up and driving for 5 is what we call it. So we'll have to do those things. They're a very talented group of people. And their ranking is deserving. And, I think it speaks a lot for our conference and what we're going into. I mean, a lot of teams in our conference are either ranked and receiving votes, including ourselves. And I think that speaks high volumes for the UAC.
As far as West Georgia goes, the Wolves are at home for the second straight week, again, coming off that win last week where they came from behind and won 35-31 over East Tennessee State, scoring 15 points in the fourth quarter. And a very, very important game for them. They are also now the first ever game today as a ranked FCS program. So a lot of things going right for the Wolves, not so good for the Colonels. But today, as you begin conference play, again, just the second ever meeting, I believe, between these two teams. West Georgia moved up in the rankings. They came into the week ranked 22nd in the Stats Perform FCS Top 25 poll, while still receiving votes in the AFCA Coaches Poll. EKU, again, coming off that loss to Marshall. And again, it is just the second meeting between the Wolves and the Colonels, and the first ever in Carrollton, Georgia. In the first ever meeting last year, the Colonels won 20-7 in Richmond. So revenge on the mind of West Georgia. When we come back, we'll look around the UAC. Again, there have been just one conference game played. So we'll look at that, and we'll look ahead to more games being played as we go throughout the day here on the EKU Game Day Show.
Have you heard about JB's Grow Shop? They are one of the most unique businesses in Richmond. If you're a farmer or a gardener, then you and JB's Grow Shop will make a great team. They provide the highest quality organic soils, nutrients, castings, and much more to meet your indoor and outdoor growing needs. Their experts will meet with you and make sure that you are getting the most out of your homegrown plants. JB's Grow Shop is located in the Southern Hills Plaza Shopping Center at 956 Commercial Drive in Richmond. When life throws you a curveball, Richmond City Taxi is just a call away. Fast, friendly, and always dependable. Just had an eye appointment? Don't risk driving home. Let Richmond City Taxi get you there safely. We're your neighbor on the go. Wherever you are, we'll be there. Richmond City Taxi. Local, reliable, trusted. Call Richmond City Taxi at 859-779-4461. In the event of an accident, please contact Shane Blankenship and Brandon Witt at Berea Collision, where you will receive exceptional quality and competitive pricing. Located behind Near New Auto at 110 Fairground Road in Berea, they are dedicated to serving their local community with top-notch repairs and unparalleled customer service. Berea Collision also services RVs, buses, and campers. Call them today at 859-985-2583 to experience the Berea Collision difference. Berea Collision Center, where precision meets perfection.
When it comes to auto service, two things are important: experience and hometown service. Hall & Sons Auto Care is starting their 20th year in business in Richmond. That's 20 years locally owned and operated. Hall & Sons Auto Care can take care of you from preventative maintenance to major engine repair. Hall & Sons Auto Care is also carrying BW towing products as well as rough country suspension and lift kits. Give us a chance to be your auto repair shop. Visit us at 209 North Keeneland Drive in Richmond.
Founded by Kentuckians for Kentuckians, Whitaker Bank is a uniquely Kentucky bank committed to the communities it serves. At Whitaker Bank, you'll find personalized service, a dedication to excellence, and a genuine desire to help you achieve your financial goals. Visit us at any of our conveniently located branches or go to whitakerbank.com to learn how Whitaker Bank can serve you. Whitaker Bank, uniquely Kentucky.
Welcome back into the EKU Game Day Show. Michael Watkins here with you again. Man, we are looking so forward to being back at home and back in the tailgate lot with you next week as the Colonels return home. But first, we got to go on the road and take care of business today in our first conference game of the season. We're taking on West Georgia, but right now, the UAC is still kind of open. Of course, Coach Wells talked about it earlier. All of our goals are still in front of us for this EKU football team, winning a conference, going undefeated at home, making a playoff, getting a playoff berth again. So all those things still aligned right now for Eastern to accomplish them. But you got to start today and start to build towards those goals. And as we look at the UAC standings at the moment, Tarleton State, the only team with a win in conference, they knocked off Central Arkansas. Tarleton State looks to be the best team in the UAC at the moment. They're 4-0 on the season, ranked in the top 25, ranked in the top 5 in most national polls. West Georgia's 3-0, Austin Peay 2-1, Abilene Christian, Eastern Kentucky, North Alabama, Southern Utah, and Central Arkansas are all 1-2, and Utah Tech at the bottom of the standings right now, 0-3 overall through the first 3 weeks of the season. Today, there is another conference game on tap for the UAC. As we pull that up, looking ahead to today's schedule, the only other conference game today is Austin Peay and Abilene Christian. That one will actually follow us. It's more of a later kickoff. North Alabama, Illinois State playing today. Chattanooga along with Tarleton State. Of course, EKU and West Georgia. Northern Iowa facing Utah Tech. Central Arkansas playing Sacramento State. And Southern Utah playing UC Davis. So the only other conference game today is Austin Peay and Abilene Christian. So if the Colonels can win today, obviously you kind of set yourself up for having a much better look ahead and kind of feeling more confident about how things stand in the UAC. But this thing's wide open. I mean, we know how good Tarleton State is. We know how good Austin Peay is. Those teams are obviously ranked in the top 25 as well. But the good news for the Colonels is both of those teams, when we do play them, they will be played at home inside of Roy Kidd Stadium, CG Bank Field. So that's going to be very important as well. And if you are a fan, why would you not want to come out and watch those games? You get to watch a ranked team come into Eastern, and the Colonels have a chance to knock them off. So as we build toward those games, definitely be prepared to come out and cheer on the Colonels. Next week, much more of a smaller slate of games as we kind of start to see teams now taking those open weeks, taking advantage of that. And next week, we do have Utah Tech and Austin Peay as a conference game. Abilene Christian will play UIW. Central Arkansas will play Lamar. West Georgia and Southern Utah. And the Colonels, again, back at home at 6 p.m. They'll take on Nicholls State, who got off to a really good start this season. So lots to be excited about if you are an EKU football fan. But today it all begins on the road at West Georgia. We've got to get right. Let's get back to the winning side of things. Another victory in FCS play if we can pull it off. We knock off a ranked team and we get a conference win. So this game, a lot riding on it. You don't want to put too much stock into one game. But with the way things have looked through 3 games, this one is uber important for the Colonels and to Colonel fans as well, because we want to come back with some good vibes as we come back home to CG Bank Field and Roy Kidd Stadium next week. Thank you for hanging out with us here, folks. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. Lots more to get to here on the EKU Game Day Show, so do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We would like to invite you to join our family at Bishop's Small Engine Repair.
Outdoor power has become a family tradition, with 3 generations here bringing you years of experience.
We will help you find the best selection of outdoor power equipment from Code Cadet, Grasshopper, DeWalt, Makita, EKU, Shindawa, and now still in our Georgetown store.
Or bring your equipment into our service department. We will keep it running for years to come.
And as with all families, we have to keep Mama happy. So come on in and see us at Bishop's Small Engine Repair in Richmond and in Georgetown.
At the Galaxy Bowling Center and Champions Bar and Grill, we have activities galore, including video games, bowling, pool, delicious food at Champions, plus karaoke and live entertainment 7 days a week. Enjoy the climate-controlled patio, watch NFL football, and your Kentucky Wildcats all season long. The Galaxy Bowling Center and Champions Bar and Grill, just off exit 87 at 1025 Amberley Way in Richmond.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Granite, marble, and quartz for any surface. Make a lifetime commitment you won't regret.
Cars of Kentucky is a proud sponsor of Eastern Kentucky University Athletics. In Richmond, we bleed maroon. Go Colonels. And when you're ready for your next pre-owned automobile, swing on over to Cars of Kentucky. Cars of Kentucky has vehicles starting at $3,000 and up, so we literally have something for every budget. 356 Big Hill Avenue in Richmond, or check them out, carsofkentucky.com. Let's go Colonels!
We're back here on the EKU Game Day Show. Michael Watkins here with you as we get closer to kickoff between the Colonels and the Wolves from West Georgia. Glad to have you along, and we're looking around the other sports slate for EKU sports. Lots of good things going on, including with golf. Of course, EKU men's golf team coming off a terrific victory last weekend, and they will be hosting the annual Colonel Classic this weekend at the University Club at Arlington. Tournament will be 3 rounds, with the first 2 rounds being played today and the final round tomorrow. Each day of play will begin with a shotgun start till this morning at 8:30 a.m., and each team will have 6 competing players, with the top 4 being counted towards the team score. The course will play at 6,714 yards, with par set at 70 for the tournament. Competing programs are, of course, Eastern Kentucky. You've also got the University of Kentucky, Louisville, Tennessee State, Morehead State, Kentucky State, Marshall, Longwood, Prairie View A&M, Mercyhurst, the University of Pikeville, and Center College. The 6 Colonels in the team lineup will be Anders Larson, Jackson Finney, Zach Watterson, Justin Begley, Jameson Corbin, and Hristo Yanakiva. So very important, as if you're hanging out in town today with nothing to do, why not go check out the Colonels golf team, as they are trying to continue their hot start under Coach Stevens, who's back in the fold. The Colonels started off this season at Marshall earlier in the month, claiming the program's first team title outside of Richmond since 2018, shooting 25 under as a team at 827 strokes, the second best 54-hole team score in program history. So hopefully can carry that momentum over into their own tournament today. On its way to the victory, EKU shot a program best team score for a single round, going 20 under with 264 strokes in the second round of the Marshall Invitational. Finney and Larson led the way for the Colonels, with Finney finishing tied for second at 8 under and Larson tied for 5th at 7 under. A win this weekend would be historic for EKU golf. marking the program's first back-to-back tournament win since 2015 when EKU won the Cobra Puma Invitational, followed by the Ohio Valley Conference Championship. It would also be the first Colonels' first season with 2 wins since the 2017-18 season. So looking to get off to a good start. Some big teams coming in: Kentucky, Louisville. We talked about that lineup, Morehead State, Tennessee State. So it won't be easy, but if EKU can get a victory again today, it would be very important for this men's golf team as they start to build some momentum going into another week. It's not just men's golf. The women's golf team is off to a good start as well. And we spoke to Coach Moore and one of the EKU women's golfers this past week on our local Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. If you missed out on that, here's some of the clips we had from the interview this past Monday. And Kara won her first collegiate golf tournament last week. So talk about that. And Kara, for you, what did it feel like coming out here and winning your first tournament?
Well, rewarding. First of all, it was I don't know, it felt like it was my time to come home with one and get it done. I put myself in a good position several times last year and just never could get it done the final day, whatever it was, just wasn't ready, maybe pressed too hard. Yeah, it was fun. It was nerve-wracking. I think I might have almost thrown up like 5 times during the day, and I don't know that I've ever been that quiet during a round of golf. Like the poor girls I was playing with were trying to talk to me. They were both such nice people, and I was just like, I can't.
Yeah, you're focused
right now.
Right?
Yeah, like I'm gonna lose it if I do. But yeah, it was great. I was really happy to go and get it done. First one of the year, it really helps too.
Coach, so you talk about the team being in contention. You all tied it up with like 3 or 4 holes to go, right, and then just fell short. So talk about that and what you've seen from your team in the early part of the season.
Yeah, I think one thing I've said to a few people about this win specifically was it really felt like a team win, which was really fun and really nice to see because we had 3 players that could have had a chance to win the last round, and Lainey ended up tied for 5th, but she was the one there at the end celebrating with Kara, which was really cool. And we were all, like, as we were finishing, trying to watch the scores because it's live scoring on our phone, so Coach Cox and I are constantly like refreshing and trying to, and then we were texting with each other. But then once we found out that Mary Keene got up and down and made her putt, they all wanted to go up to that hole and kind of celebrate together. So it was just kind of fun to see how everybody was just really supporting each other and excited for Kara. It was nice.
I guess I'm wondering, is this a tournament that you guys go to regularly? Have you guys played this course very often?
We had been several years since I've been here, but the last 2 we hadn't been. So we really only had our individual player was the only one that had seen the golf course prior to the practice round out of this team that we have. So it was a new one for them, but not so much for me. But it's a good course and I think a good one to start the season on because there's not a whole lot of trouble, and it kind of is a little bit more forgiving than some that we play. So
where's this at? The Redbird Invitational? Oh, there's a Redbird in Kentucky. Is that where this one was held at?
In Illinois State hosts
okay.
it. Yeah,
okay.
So they have a university course there in Normal, Illinois.
Is it pretty normal?
Yeah, pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty normal.
Well, you talked about Mary Keene, and she's also, I think, another Lexington, or she's from Lexington, so you got a couple. And you've had a lot of success with some of these local kids as well. So talk about that. And as far as recruiting goes, like, is there a certain area you really try to focus on, or is it just, wherever you can find a good golfer, you'll bring them in from?
Yeah, a little both, but we love to try to get our local Kentucky girls first if we can.
Like Molly.
Yeah.
Coming next year.
Yeah. So, but then we kind of branch out from there. So we were really lucky to obviously get Kara and Mary Keene, and we've got Clara Beth from Richmond and Maddie Jo Benton from Estill County. So we've got 4 Kentucky girls right now, and we love to get the local talent to stay here in Richmond if we can.
When you look at your schedule. Now, do you all host one at Arlington this year, too? I know you'll have 1 or 2 tournaments that you'll host throughout the year. When is the one that you all will be hosting?
Yeah, we host usually our last event of the spring.
Okay.
So this year it's going to be March 30th and 31st, that last Monday, Tuesday of March.
Have you heard about JB's Grow Shop? They are one of the most unique businesses in Richmond. If you're a farmer or gardener, then you and JB's Grow Shop will make a great team. They provide the highest quality organic soils, nutrients, castings, and much more to meet your indoor and outdoor growing needs. Their experts will meet with you and make sure that you are getting the most out of your homegrown plants. JB's Grow Shop is located in the Southern Hills Plaza Shopping Center at 956 Commercial Drive in Richmond. When life throws you a curveball, Richmond City Taxi is just a call away. Fast, friendly, and always dependable. Just had an eye appointment? Don't risk driving home. Let Richmond City Taxi get you there safely. We're your neighbor on the go. Wherever you are, we'll be there. Richmond City Taxi. Local, reliable, trusted. Call Richmond City Taxi at 859-779-4461. In the event of an accident, please contact Shane Blankenship and Brandon Witt at Berea Collision, where you will receive exceptional quality and competitive pricing. Located behind Near New Auto at 110 Fairground Road in Berea, they are dedicated to serving their local community with top-notch repairs and unparalleled customer service. Berea Collision also services RVs, buses, and campers. Call them today at 859-985-2583 to experience the Berea Collision difference. Berea Collision Center, where precision meets perfection.
When it comes to auto service, two things are important: experience and hometown service. Hall & Sons Auto Care is starting their 20th year in business in Richmond. That's 20 years locally owned and operated. Hall & Sons Auto Care can take care of you from preventative maintenance to major engine repair. Hall & Sons Auto Care is also carrying BW towing products as well as rough country suspension and lift kits. Give us a chance to be your auto repair shop. Visit us at 209 North Keeneland Drive in Richmond.
Founded by Kentuckians for Kentuckians, Whitaker Bank is a uniquely Kentucky bank committed to the communities it serves. At Whitaker Bank, you'll find personalized service, a dedication to excellence, and a genuine desire to help you achieve your financial goals. Visit us at any of our conveniently located branches or go to whitakerbank.com to learn how Whitaker Bank can serve you. Whitaker Bank, uniquely Kentucky.
We're back here on the EKU Game Day Show to wrap things up as the Colonels head down to Carrollton, Georgia. About a 6-hour drive from Richmond, but still doable. And I tell you what, if you like to fly, you know how close it is. It'll be about an hour flight to get you close enough to Carrollton to make the trip down there to support the Colonels, who are 1-2 on the season and 12.5-point underdogs. And the total for today's game, 53.5. I like the under. Two good defenses. I like the Colonels to keep this one close, too. We know how important this game is going to be, and I think if there is a change of quarterback, I'm sure that Greg and those guys will have that information for you before the kickoff today, which, again, is at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But if the Colonels make a change of quarterback and the offense starts to improve, I mean, this 12.5-point spread, I think the Colonels keep it close. Wouldn't surprise me if they go on the road and get another victory. But the way our defense has been playing, the way West Georgia's defense has been playing to start the year, I do believe this game goes under 53.5 points. It's a very, very big game for the Colonels. We've already talked about that and how they need to go on the road and perform well, both sides of the ball. And for the defense, listen, you've been carrying the load for 3 weeks. You've made your plays, and even in the victory against Houston Christian, the defense did their part. Last week, Coach talked about it. There have been signs that show you, even against the 2 FBS schools, that our defense can continue to make plays. And as they go on the road to face the 22nd-ranked Wolves of West Georgia, it's going to be very, very important to try to get right on offense, and for that defense to just continue to do what you've been doing. Through 3 games, the Colonels have been led by the Maroon Doom defense, which has forced at least 2 turnovers in each game, including a team-high 4 in that win over Houston Christian. As a unit, the defense has forced 9 turnovers this season. That is the 3rd best at the FCS level. So this defense, we talked about it, they have been carrying the load. And as a team, the Colonels have scored 34 points off of turnovers this year. Wide receiver Jaden West enters Saturday's game coming off a career best performance last week at Marshall. We know about the big playability of West and Marcus Cowwise and Stanley. They've just got to get open. This offensive line's got to play better and give their quarterback, whichever one it is, time to find these guys Because if you could just get the ball in their hands, they have shown the ability to make plays. Of course, the Richmond native West scored his first career touchdown against the Thundering Herd while compiling a game-high 47 yards on 3 catches last week. The Colonels have also found success in the UAC in their 2 years in this league, compiling a 10-4 record through 2 full seasons of play. And against ranked opponents last year, the Colonels went 2-1 with victories over Tarleton State, who was number 7 at the time when the Colonels went on the road and beat them. And they also knocked off Central Arkansas, who was number 16 last year when the Colonels got that win. Talked about UWG. They're at home for the 2nd straight week after that 4-point win, a come-from-behind victory over East Tennessee State. In that win, they scored 15 unanswered points in the 4th quarter to beat the Buccaneers, so they are feeling really good about themselves. Momentum, confidence, it is all at an all-time high for this program, and they are playing their first ever game as a ranked FCS team. So it's going to be important for them as well. They're back at home. It's going to be a big deal, first conference game. So the Colonels, who are no strangers to playing against in big, difficult environments, 70,000 fans at Louisville, over 30,000 fans at Marshall. So the Colonels are used to this type of environment, and I think that will really help them as they go on the road today. The running back, Latrell Murrell, we talked about him, 415 yards on the ground thus far, but that EKU defense, which has played well again through 3 games, they've got to play good again today. The Wolves' defense has also been stout, just allowing 14.7 points per game. So, again, I like the under in today's game. I like the Colonels to keep it close. If they cannot pull off the victory, I believe this game is going to be one of those that comes down to the wire. Can our offense make enough plays will be the big question. Looking forward to this matchup. Colonels going to try to get back in the win column before coming back home next week against a good Nicholls State team. We'll see if they can get it done. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks. We appreciate all of you fans. And if you have been watching this show, come out next week. Howard Miller will join me back on campus as we are live for the Game Day Show, getting you set for another home game for EKU. So come out, talk to us. We'll give you a headset, and we'll preview another tough home game for the Colonels next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our producer, Gage Hill. I'm Michael Watkins. We'll see you next week at home for another exciting episode of the EKU Game Day Show.
We would like to invite you to join our family at Bishop's Small Engine Repair.
Outdoor Power has become a family tradition, with 3 generations here bringing you years of experience.
We will help you find the best selection of outdoor power equipment from Code Cadet, Grasshopper, DeWalt, Makita, EKU, Shindawa, and now still in our Georgetown store.
Or bring your equipment into our service department. We will keep it running for years to come.
And as with all families, we have to keep Mama happy. So come on in and see us at Bishop's Small Engine Repair in Richmond and in Georgetown.
At the Galaxy Bowling Center and Champions Bar and Grill, we have activities galore, including video games, bowling, pool, delicious food at Champions, plus karaoke and live entertainment 7 days a week. Enjoy the climate-controlled patio, watch NFL football, and your Kentucky Wildcats all season long. The Galaxy Bowling Center and Champions Bar and Grill, just off exit 87 at 1025 Amberley Way in Richmond.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Granite, marble, and quartz for any surface. Make a lifetime commitment you won't regret.
Cars of Kentucky is a proud sponsor of Eastern Kentucky University Athletics. In Richmond, we bleed maroon. Go Colonels. And when you're ready for your next pre-owned automobile, swing on over to Cars of Kentucky. Cars of Kentucky has vehicles starting at $3,000 and up, so we literally have something for every budget. 356 Big Hill Avenue in Richmond, or check them out, carsofkentucky.com. Let's go Colonels!